Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. Unbroken is a story about a defiant man named Louis Zamperini, whose defiance and willpower kept him alive in unbearable circumstances. Louis Silvi Zamperini, more often called Louis, was born on January 22, 1917. He was the child of Italian immigrants. His father was Anthony and his mother was Louise. Louis had a knack for trouble. He grew up in the small town of Torrance, California, where he spent his free time smoking, drinking, and robbing his neighbors' houses. He was only 5 years old at the time. Louis also dealt with bullies who would beat him up for his Italian heritage. Things started to change for the better for Louis. In his freshman year of high school, Louis decided to try out for his school's track team. At first, Louis was terrible at track, and Louis almost gave up track entirely. However, Louis's brother, Pete, made him practice running. Louis even gave up smoking to increase his lung capacity. Soon enough, Louis was the best runner at his school and the best runner in California, then in the nation, setting the new high school record for the mile run at 4:21. Louis soon found himself in the 1936 Olympic Games. Unfortunately, Louis didn't take first place. Instead, he took 8th place. However, he did set a new lap record on his last lap, which he took pride in. Shortly after the Olympics, Louis was in World War II in the Army Air Force, working as a bombardier in a B-24 plane. His job was to aim the bombs at the target in bombing missions. The B-24 planes during World War II were prone to malfunction. More crewmen on B-24 planes died during training than to actual combat scenarios. Louis barely survived his few bombing missions he was assigned to carry out. However, one lucky day, Louis and his crew were sent on a rescue mission, overseas in a plane that could barely fly on its own. Soon enough, one of the engines on the plane blew, and the plane went hurling into the sea. Only 3 men survived the crash. They were stranded in the middle of the ocean with 2 rafts for 47 days, fighting off blistering heat during the day and freezing cold at night. They had little to no food and water. They only survived off rainwater and the birds that kept landing on their rafts. They had to fight off sharks that constantly circled the rafts. At one point, a Japanese plane found them and started to shoot at them, causing them to lose one raft. Eventually, one of the men on the boat succumbed to the lack of food and water, and he unfortunately died. Shortly after, Louis and his friend Phil were rescued by Japanese. For the next 2 years, Louis would battle torture, starvation, dehydration, disease, bitter cold, and much more. Louis would be constantly singled out by Japanese officers because Louis was defiant and could not be broken. At the end of the war, Louis was rescued and brought back to America, where he struggled with alcoholism and PTSD. However, after listening to Billy Graham, Louis became a Christian and learned to forgive his captors. My lesson for this book is forgiveness. One example of that would be after the war, Louis could not stop thinking about getting revenge for his captors. But after he became a Christian, he learned to forgive. He even went to Japan to meet his captors and forgive them for what they have done. And another example is when Louis was on a raft stranded with 2 other men. One of the men panicked and ate all the food, causing Louis to despise him. But shortly after, when the man who ate all the food redeemed himself, Louis learned to forgive him and understand that they were in a dire situation. And my conclusion for today is Matthew 6:14. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will forgive you.